Welcome, welcome, welcome. Liberal 12 Man Show is here today for you because it's finally Friday. And for a lot of us, the weekend is upon us. I know a lot of games this weekend and a lot of fun stuff to engage in, to say the least. It's going to be an interesting weekend because we don't have to participate per se in this weekend in the sense of our team, most notably the Reds amongst us that follow the Reds at least. We don't have to worry about looking at tables or game fixtures or even our own team for the moment because we will be playing on Monday. So big up to all those that are joining me today for Finally Friday. High lore, honesty, psychedelic. Big up to you guys and all those that are in the chat right now that haven't said hello, but all the same, I know that you're out there. So whether you watch this on replay or not, big up to you as well. So it looks like big up Philip. It looks like Hyler's got some information for us. It looks like it's finally been announced that Arne Slot is going to be our new manager. Is something that we all pretty much already knew, but we were waiting for that final official announcement. It was pretty much in the works already, but we all knew that it was going to be coming around eventually. Big up Red Bird, how you doing, brother? And now we have a some of us have said, at least some of us have said that we had a Dutch manager already, in essence, with Pep. But now we have a truly Dutch manager with the official title of manager for the club. So there we have that. Also, something that I saw High Lord just announced too, or was putting into the chat here, I was going to get into as well, is that apparently Julian Ward has confirmed that he will be returning to Liverpool as well. It's very interesting because I'd like to know what Julian Ward's role is going to be with the team. I'm very interested to see what Julian Ward's role with the team is going to be, considering he was at one time the sporting director, considering he was looking to pursue other endeavors with Ajax and such, but it didn't work out for him, didn't pan out. So that didn't work out. So it is what it is for him, but he's now apparently returning to the folds, and not as a sporting director for us, but in some other facility. The Irishman has joined us, people. So big up to the Irishman. How are you doing, Brian?
Very well. How are you?
Yeah, good. Again, apologies for not being able to get in that 7-hour window, but all the same, I wanted to make sure that I said hello and basically, kind of got chopped it up with the peoples, on some of the topics as we go into the weekend. But it is what it is. Like, as we are all here, and that's the most important thing. We got the aircraft up and running, and flying high. Nobody wants to go in a plane that's got some question marks. So we made sure that it was all set and ready to go. A lot of people in the chat too, by the way. Big up Lee's in the chat. Bernie's in the chat, or B is in the chat. Okay. Psychedelic Scientist is in the chat. Some good names to see. Everyone's, I guess, on some TGIF settings. But all the same. Yes. There's something else I wanted to say. Did you hear the news about Julian Ward, by the way?
Brian? When you were there now and just looking at the tweet myself, yeah. Your new technical director.
Yes, technical director. Yep.
So Hughes is sporting director. Ward is technical director.
Right.
So, yeah. So take your pick.
Yeah, it's always about like getting the paycheck comes. It doesn't really matter, to some people. Yeah. A title's a title.
So Michael Edwards, new CEO for FSG, probably football CEO.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
coming together.
I didn't see it coming. I didn't take any chance, but yeah, I don't know. Hopefully it works.
Yeah.
And Pedro Marquez, director of football development. So
Yes. Yes.
young people. So
Yes.
okay.
He was he from Benfica? Was he from or?
Yeah, he sounds Portuguese anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I believe he was. I believe he was Benfica's. Um, he held that role with Ben. I think it was Benfica. I'm not certain. I'm sure I'll be if I'm wrong, I'll be corrected pretty shortly here because our you know how our
Yeah.
mighty Reds army here is always like quick and very alert and very astute with all the details and everything else. That's what I like to see. Um, and there was also so I watched the press conference today too. Did you get to watch the press conference by any chance?
No, I didn't see it.
No. Okay. Um, we got to use that big word again, penultimate, because that's what it was labeled as, the uh, penultimate press conference for Jurgen Klopp. And basically, he just got into a couple different things about like he spoke on Harvey because there's a question about Harvey's role with possibly England and the Euros coming up, and also the fact that he said if there was anything, hopefully I'm not mixing the two up because I watched another thing too. I watched the Reds Roundtable. Did you get the chance to see that too?
No.
No. Okay.
Excuse me. Sorry. No, very busy doing outside work today,
Yeah,
gardens,
yeah, yeah.
painting and stuff. So yeah, I have seen. I mean, I just had one of those non-internet days. I saw nothing, read
Oh,
nothing.
it's good to take those
But
days down. Yeah,
oh, it's good to do every now and again. It's very
every
good.
now and then. Yeah, now and then. Yeah, to take a little break. Well, I'll fill in maybe some of the people in the chat can fill in the blanks of where I was wrong, where I don't have the absolute honest corrections or need the honest corrections. I said honest. I mean, because I see honesty in there in the chat, and I see bonkers in the chat. Big up to you both. What I was going to say is he spoke on basically how he wishes that he had played Harvey more actually than he actually got the opportunity to do so. I believe that was in the Reds roundtable actually that he said that, but he did mention Harvey's inclusion with the Euros in the press conference, and then he also spoke on obviously the sheer fact that this next opponent, Villa, is a viable opponent. That Emery is a really super talented coach, and the sheer fact that that we have a fight on our hands, regardless, because that's what we should expect from Villa, regardless of their recent exit from Europe and possibly some faltering in their form somewhat. But most of all, he was in a chipper mood. I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely going to get the there's this, he had a warm-up on, I guess it was like an all-white warm-up with the gold. Have you seen that one by any chance?
No,
No.
clothes, is it? What he was wearing?
Yeah, this is what he was wearing at the press conference. I'm gonna see if I can. I'll see if I can look it up for you. It was pretty dope actually. It was like white, all white. Says you'll never walk alone on the sleeve. It's pretty dope. And it's gold. It's gold embroidered. Or not embroidered actually. It's gold foil on it. Pretty cool one too. And psychedelic Shaolin, psychedelic scientist now. He used to be Shaolin, but now he's the scientist. The video I'm talking about is called "The Most Ridiculous Moment I've Ever Witnessed," the Reds Roundtable, and that's exactly what I was speaking on. It's very interesting. On the roundtable, basically, he had the Youth Academy director, and he had Pep with Jurgen, and then he had Harvey, and he also had Cody in the roundtable, and they all spoke on different little things about like Liverpool, about like it was more so very focused with Jurgen's comments, but but everyone else got to participate as well, as in including some of their takes and such. And it was interesting to hear, like Harvey spoke on, for instance, the fact that something maybe you guys didn't know, but Harvey spoke on the fact of Chelsea. Initially, Chelsea was the team that gave him his first opportunity to play at like age 11, I want to say. And then Chelsea told him that he wasn't big enough or fast enough as well, so they let him go. And for a little while, like the dream started to falter a little bit, but he was determined, and his dad was determined too. So they just put this double down, focused more so on like training and getting and it sounds crazy because I mean he's like 11 years old, like it's like only so much you can do with an 11-year-old kid, when it comes to training. But he was focused enough to get involved, and that's when Fulham gave him the call and said, hey, you know what? Because he had gone back to just like playing Sunday league in essence with his friends. And he got the call, and they were like, I think it's right around when he's 12, 13 years old. Got the call, and he went to Fulham. He said he didn't enjoy it that much, to tell you the truth. He didn't really enjoy the of some of the things that he had to do there. And then, Chelsea really did F up. Yes, honestly, they did. Chelsea's weird with their youth academy players. I think maybe they have there's so many players that they're going to miss out on players at times, There's going to be some of these players that like slip through their fingers when it comes through to like their youth academy, like gems that are really, really good and really, really talented that just, for some reason just don't hold the mustard, as they say. But yeah, because Chelsea just is about to invest in a very big name, actually, out of South America. Actually, I don't know if you heard about that too.
Well, Esteva,
yeah, supposed to be like a big time wonder kid, and they're looking at seriously splashing the cash on a very young talent for sure.
Yeah, and a lot of people after him. There's every club out there has. Chelsea have a few more than like the amount of players they have. True, but every club out there has at least one player that they let go when they were age 10 or 11 because it's so hard to predict. And they're so ruthless. Like 10, 11 years old, you don't know how big someone's going to be when they're 17. They could have a growth spurt. A lot of the time, you hear that story so many times that someone got let go because they told they were too small. It's just like,
right,
kids are too small, and then they're like, oh yeah, when I was 13, I grew, like I had a growth spurt or whatever. But yeah, you cannot, like Harvey Elliott is not that big. You can imagine when he was 11, he probably was pretty tiny. But yeah, there's a lot of lads like that throughout football who went to certain clubs, got let go, went somewhere else, get picked up. Declan Rice, they had Declan Rice as well, didn't they? Lots of these guys out there. Just shows that kids have to be, don't like, you can get let go by one academy or one club. It doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
No,
no.
Some kid like that. It doesn't. You can get let go by anybody. Some really good players have been told you're not good enough. And Declan Rice, prime example. £100 million player now.
Totally.
Chelsea said you're not good enough, and off you went to West Ham.
Yeah, he said. Honestly, puts here. He went to Fulham at age 13, and like it was funny too. It was a really cool moment. Because Harvey was talking about, his, everything that was going on in his career, his young career. And it was kind of funny because he was like talking about, he's like, well, when I was young, and I'm like, you still are young, my lad, but because everyone took a little chuckle on that. But he debuted in the championship at age 15. Age 15, he was playing in the championship. Absolutely incredible. And like the cool moment about it, Brian, was when he said that, like it even like kind of like struck Jurgen a special way, and he was just like, wow, that's incredible. And he like gave him a high five, like, well done, man, well done, big up to you. It's really, really cool. Let's see. Oh yes, I know. I heard about that too. I heard that is not completely done. They've agreed in principle, but it apparently Bayern are still trying to pursue him and woo him to their confides. Yeah, and also Psycho Scientist says Chelsea let go Salah, KDB, Elliott, and who else? There's probably other names in that list. I'm certain. Definitely certain. There's a comment. Bernie said this too. Elliott cost the club $4.3 million from Fulham. Certainly a bargain, an absolute bargain for sure. It kind of goes to what you say. Like he talked about this comment here. Honestly, says even Cody was very small. He said because Cody's obviously had a growth spurt in his life. He's a very tall guy, but he spoke about how when he was younger he was discouraged about his height, because he said he had big feet, but he was not a tall guy. And he talks about how he was very small. He got injured and came back tall when he was in the PSV youth system, and how it was very interesting. He's like, they were talking about how so many names in the youth systems, you look at them and you think, these youth academy players, good players, certainly decent players, but the possibility or the probability of them actually going on to play in the big league, very, very minute, very, very small chance of it, And he was talking about how, like, even in the system, like PSV has an amazing youth system, and they were talking about how, he was in his youth system, or his youth class was a unique circumstance because he's like 3 of us got involved in going on and pursuing on, higher aspirations. He's like, but that's a rarity. Sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 0 in a class that actually make it out, And it goes to show you like how special the development process is sometimes as well, and how sometimes not giving up on young talent and just, trying to continuously allow for it to develop and hoping that it pays off is important. At least that's my perception, at least.
Yeah, well, like you said, it's a harsh final exam. Those guys that make it all the way, it's very, very few of them get to play at the top clubs. So it is harder for a young player, especially with the expectations that are on managers. Like we see, it's like they're saying, what's the expectation on Slot for next season? So it's, he should be doing this, he should be doing that. Well, that's not positive for youth development. If you demand results, if you demand trophies, you can't also demand that a manager trusts kids and brings through kids and brings through young players, because those two things don't go hand in hand. If you want success continuously, young players are nice. It's all well and good, but it's not going to, at the highest end, it's not what fans really demand. They might think they demand it, but they demand trophies at the end of the day. So, yeah, it is very, very difficult. You've got to be such a special player, even to just physically, like someone like Harvey Elliott, to be at his age, to have that much football under his belt. I hope, he seems pretty robust. Like, I hope it doesn't, catch up with him. It's a lot of football.
Yeah, that's true. That's certainly true. I can understand you saying that. Like, as in maybe sometimes being put in it's almost like saying, you can almost kind of say being put in the blender, like, because that's what the championship, obviously the Premier League, these top tier leagues can really, really do to a young. That's he's a youth, to say the least, at 15, to be going up against men, and to keep up that pace and to keep up that mentality is very, very taxing on the body, to say the least. Definitely puts on some years or some miles on the wheels for sure.
It's not normal for a 15, 16-year-old to be playing in the championship.
I have a question too. I told you how we're trying to make some connects, or not connects, but trying to solidify some of our Aussie friends. And one of the connects that I have down there was did a piece on There's a City fan. His name is Heimze, Heimze, I believe is how you pronounce his name. All due respect, I'm not trying to mispronounce it on purpose. And it's funny because this guy is a Madrid fan and a City fan, but now is wholly and only a City fan, since now his team has won the Champions League, and he believes that, he wants to win all the Champions Leagues. And obviously, Madrid just did their duty against his club. There's this concept of Madrid buy this Champions League. They are corrupt as HELL. Very interesting take that he had to do. He had a big rant. He went on and on about it. It was very funny to see his little, basically meltdown over it. There's been some talks. We spoke on how, it's very interesting that the Polish refereeing team kind of messed up on their pursuit of officiating that game. But I'm not going to go to the point where I think that Madrid is buying. I'm not going as far as saying that they're buying the Champions League.
Oh, is that what they're saying? Is it?
Okay. Yeah. I wouldn't go that far. Definitely. They have. It's a unique thing. Again, for me, it's with these teams, whether it's Madrid, or Real Madrid to be specific, or whether it's Manchester City. For me, it goes to you put these teams on such pedestals to the point where you almost, if you're the opposition, you can fall into the allure or fall into the trap of of not believing in yourself and not just getting the job done. And also the referees fall into the trap of thinking, oh, well, these teams are such high levels that of course that's a foul when they get touched, or of course it's a foul or this or that because of this or whatever it could be. At least that's my perception. I just think that sometimes you get into those places where you're just always you're not going to get a level officiating field, but that's just me. That's just my concept. Yeah, he says Hamza called Madrid cheaters when they lost to Madrid. Ironic coming from a City fan, for sure. And on top of that, ironic coming from a fan that, quote unquote, is seen wearing Real Madrid gear and being a Real Madrid fan. The fandom today is such a different world, man. Absolutely different world when it comes to there's sometimes who you see these how you can be a fan of some of these teams and be a fan of other teams. But I'm not going to get too deep into that.
Yeah, that's just look, for some people it's understandable. Somebody was born in one country and they moved somewhere when they were 10 or something.
Mm-hmm.
In a very certain set of circumstances, it's understandable or whatever. But for a lot of these guys that just have no connection to this kind of that's not acceptable for me, really. Some guy that's just said, oh yeah, I'm this fan and I'm also a that fan, with absolutely no reason.
He called them glory hunters. I'm like, that's rich coming from someone that was a Real Madrid fan, is now a City fan, and now you're calling these guys glory hunters for all the Real Madrid fans and people that follow that club. I'm like, that's just the state of where we're at. That some of the fans out there, and especially on some of these platforms that they get to, spout their opinions on, it is absolutely mad. Absolutely mad. Let's see what else did. I have some other things inside, but I'm gonna try to include. Oh, there was a question here for us. Two questions. We can take the general question first, then we'll take the Liverpool specific question next. It asks, who is favorites for the UCL next year? Anyone not saying Madrid? Look, if Mbappe goes there, certainly they will be looked at as being hands down favorites for Champions League. Do you have someone else that you would possibly say you could see as being a contender with Madrid next year?
Depending on transfers. This season, it was City. City were favourites the last 2 seasons. I wouldn't be surprised if bookies favourites
Mm-hmm.
were City. Again, depending on what they do in the summer. But yeah, I might just push Real Madrid over with the Mbappe signing. But pretty
I think with those
50-50 on
two.
that one. Pretty 50-50 on it. Yeah, depend. Like, I haven't heard any big plans coming out of City. There's no there's
Mm-hmm.
no word on them having a big deal lined up for somebody or any, a Kevin De Bruyne replacement coming in. They've been
Mm-hmm.
very quiet up there. So
Mm-hmm.
but I wouldn't be at all surprised if they added another 180 million quid's worth of, you know, whoever it might be. But I
Mm-hmm.
think they'll be 50. I think they'll be splitting the bookies 50-50. But for me, as long as they're in it, if they don't, those kind of players, it's pretty much always got to be Madrid. But they can't win it every season. But they'll
Mm-hmm.
be going into it pretty strong, yeah.
Yeah, they'll be going definitely into it strong. There's really not many other clubs I could see that are going to necessarily be perennial favorites, to be honest with you, for the competition next year. This question is more specific to us. It asks Champions League expectation for slot next year. What would be in your mind, Brian? What would be a how deep into the
I
Champions
think,
League competition do you think we would have to make it for you to be uh,
yeah, I see it.
accepted?
I see the question.
Accepted.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it. I know it's knockouts pretty much.
Okay.
It's knockouts. Quarterfinals, I'd say. Depending on the draw we get. If our group is, yeah, we should obviously not group stages. Yeah, I'd say I'd be happy enough. Like if the draw is decent, quarterfinals
I'm
would be an improvement on
sorry.
where we are this season. So
Right.
yeah, I'd be like, but if we got if we got to the quarterfinals and we ended up like with an Olympiacos or something somehow, you know what I mean? Then yeah,
Mhm.
you take it as it comes then. But before the thing was to start, I'd say that that I'd be happy with quarterfinals because that's probably about
Quarterfinals
our
for you.
level.
Well, yeah, quarterfinals for
Yeah,
Philip. He says too. Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, quarterfinals. Okay. Um, yeah, I just saw. I had a reaction from this statement here about Mbappe ain't going to Madrid. He's going to the Spurs. That'd be that would be interesting if they pulled that one off, to say the least. Um, um, but let's see. Quarterfinals would be interesting for certain. For certain. Oh, you know what? Also, I'm going to talk about this too. So in the press conference, he spoke on a noticeable absence from the starting lineup in our last starting lineup, at least. And basically, he got asked a question as to, is everything? I'm paraphrasing, but is everything cool with Kanate, basically, and or was there a particular reason why Kwanzaa got the start over Kanate, considering both were both healthy and fit? And he basically just conceded that Kwanzaa's been training very well and he deserved the start. And it can be difficult sometimes to kind of digest that as a fan or even as a journalist, but as a fan especially, because um, Kanate is certainly one of the more Kanate's been slated as being the partner, the number two partner for VVD this year, but it definitely certainly shows how much Kwanzaa has made, how well Kwanzaa has adjusted and adapted and he praised his performance despite, a hiccup here or there. He still praised his performance. It's very telling of how well this young man has developed into a viable second choice, or as I might say, second choice as a partner for VVD.
Yeah, it's look, you can't really go against what you see on the pitch. If he's starting games, Canade sat on the bench. It's not for some special different reason. It's because he's played his way in ahead of him. It seemed pretty clear. Look, he's got what, two games now. If the hierarchy was to remain the same, and you were to go into the start of next season with them, still at that level, and still where Kwanzaa had gone ahead of Canade, I wouldn't be at all surprised. But now with a new guy coming in, who knows what's going to happen when Canade even still be here. But my question would be, is Arne Slot coming in and looking at it going, he's going to be starting games for me next season? Is he looking at buying somebody to back him up, buying somebody to bring in? Does Arne Slot look at that thing, right? If the season was starting tomorrow, and I had Kwanzaa, Canade, Van Dijk, and a new defender, just say John Smith, who am I starting? Would he be going with Kwanzaa?
Who would you start?
He doesn't know this guy.
Who would you start?
He doesn't know this guy.
Who would you start personally?
And
tell me in the chat too. Tell me in the chat who you guys would start if given the choice.
From what we've seen.
And wanting to create a pair, like if you wanted to create a center back pairing where you're going to play them pretty much consistently, day in, day out concept is similar to what you see at Arsenal. Who would you want to see in that second pair with VVD going into the new year?
Yeah, well, like from what we've seen, it's obvious who the better player is at the moment. It's that like Canade and Kwanzaa and Van Dijk is what looks to be the best partnership at the moment. But has he seen enough of him? Has Slot seen enough of the guy? What would he think would he go, no, I need some. Yeah, it's a hard one to know. Like, has Kwanzaa like put in enough time there? To make the new manager be like, oh well, he's the main guy there. You know what I'm saying? Or will he kind of drop back into not like he could easily, like, if it becomes him looking at everybody, him probably thinking Virgil +1. I don't think he would, if he kept performing the way he's been performing. Canade, the way he's been performing, I'm pretty sure he'd win that race again, even with Slot. But it all depends. I think probably on the new guy he brings in, but I think he should stick with it. That's Virgil and Kwanzaa maybe for next season. Go with that for next season. Plus Canade and a new guy that you're bringing in for like the 35, 40 million mark. But I can see us having Canade just as easily. That's the thing. I can see us. I can see us needing a Canade replacement as well. That's what I have in the back of my mind. But Kwanzaa, he is young. So
yeah,
it is a tough one. There's a lot of decisions. See, that's not the only one.
No, center back is one of my top choice, my top priority picks for this upcoming. And obviously, it's been reported that is the case. But a center back,
buy one. It's just, does he play? Who's his number one partner? What do we do with Canade? What do we do with Kwanzaa? There's an awful lot of little kind of mini decisions to be made around it.
It goes
knowing that they'll all get enough games.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking at the chat here. They're giving their opinions. They said, honestly, says Ibu in his mind he would prefer Ibu, but he doesn't mind rotating depending on the opponents. Okay. Alexander said system is Kwanzaa. Hylor says Konate is stronger and has superior skills to Kwanzaa, but Kwanzaa looks smarter and more loyal to tactics. Konate makes these strange, almost erratic errors. And Angel goes on to say he disagrees. He thinks Kwanzaa has made numerous costly mistakes this year. It's interesting. Okay. And then Burnett says Kanate is strong, has pace, but the Kwanzaa VVD pairing seems solid. Mix and match foe different for different games. A lot of people seem to go with the whole like, and that's the thing about it. Like as in like I see Alexander says Evil has been burnt out a little bit. I would prefer to have an established center back pairing that seemed to work. Not only I understand that Kwanzaa works well with VVD, so does Kanate, but I would like to have an established center back pairing that it's almost like a guarantee, just as easily as we expect to see VVD start, we should almost expect to see his center back pair start. And that's why I think one of the major reasons why we've seen such a major difference, or if not stability, brought to Arsenal is because they have that kind of pairing when it comes to their center back pairing.
Well, yeah, it's football 101 for me. You have a centre half pair.
Yeah.
That's why that's why people can name famous centre half pairings, not just famous defenders.
Mm-hmm.
They can always pick out the classic because that's what you wanted, that's what you needed. 35 games with the same two boys and whoever the other two lads are, and that's what Canadi was supposed to be. Canadi was supposed to be the guy that came in this season and put down 35 games, and it was the Canadi and Van Dijk, because at the beginning of the season when they were playing, I know they wouldn't have done it over the year, but they were outperforming the Saliba and Gabriel partnership. And
Yeah, I
Gabriel
think
missed a
so.
few games
I
to
think you
start
say
the
that.
season.
Yeah.
But they were statistically they were outperforming, as in by optics they were the best defensive pair in the league.
Mm-hmm.
But Canadi just drops away in and out again. So that's pretty much, if you want to win a league, you'd be doing very well to do it if you're constantly chopping and changing centre halves. You need a centre half pair that does you a minimum of 30 games, and they can stay fit and they can stay consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just like, if just say it was Kwanzaa and Matip, then look, you're going to get all the cup games, you're going to get all these games, but that's a rock solid centre half go-to pair, and you build around it. Same with a goalkeeper. You don't want to be just subbing. You don't want to be using a different goalkeeper every few games just because you're playing a different team.
Yeah.
It's the spine
Yeah.
of your team. And Canadi was supposed to be that guy, and Canadi has not been able to do it, injuries wise. So you can't hang around forever.
No, you can't. You certainly can't. You can't hang on forever for just, the promise of what you want to see happen. I know there's a couple players that fit that bill for our team currently, but most notably, let's be honest, our opportunities or our fortunes would be different if our defense was a little bit more solid than we allowed for it to be this year. And it's not because of talent. It's more so, in my opinion, it's just because of injuries and just getting some runs together to familiarize yourself and be confident in each other, in being at the same run of form, and being possibly at the same level for run of form at the very same time, as opposed to having to like hold on to VVD being on major form, but Kanate working his way back from injury, or or something along those lines. Yes, that's a good question. So if Matip is to go, and it looks like Matip is going to go, do you have a center back in your mind? And this is a question to the chat as well. You can put your contributions in there. Do you have a center back in mind that you want to see, that you would like to see us? It could be a splash to cash concept. It could be
No.
I don't necessarily see
No.
them splashing the cash for a center back, obviously, but like, is there a name out there?
No, there's players out there that are obvious, but they would cost far too much money that we're not going to spend. So I know that we're going to end up buying some guy that I don't really know anything about. So that's going to be one of those ones where I'll just be trusting the club to have gone out and, identify the right target. Whether it's this guy, Pacho, or whoever it is at some Dutch club or some German club, or I'm sure they've got their eyes on some guy, some people there, and I'm
Right.
pretty sure it's going to be some guy that most people would like. It's not going to be a Matthias de Ligt or you know some big name
Yeah.
centre half that everybody
Yeah.
knows about. I'm pretty sure it's just going to be some guy that yeah most people wouldn't have heard about 2 years ago, or most people still they don't know who he is now. Frankfurt, Benfica, from one of these type of clubs.
Yeah.
35 million, not an eight. We're not going to spend 70 or 80 on a centre half.
Hmm.
We'll be spending that kind of 30, 35 million getting someone who hopefully, like, you can't know all these players, especially these days.
Hmm.
Murillo from Nottingham Forest, yeah, he's a really good player. I've seen
Okay.
him play a few times. I've seen Nottingham Forest play a few times. Yeah. He's a great little centre
It
half.
helps.
Loves
It
to get
helps if
forward.
they get relegated. It will certainly help the chances of that
Yeah,
possibly
no
happening.
doubt. I
But
know, yeah, yeah.
if they stay up, then it's a different story. Then they still got they'll be still getting a lot more money to help pay off some of those wage bill issues for them if they
Yeah,
don't.
I think there'll be some, proper young prospect, sort of
What if
23,
would you be
24.
mad? And this is a question again for the chat. I see Bonkers put in Seth Vandenberg. Would you be disappointed if we go and say allow for Seth Vandenberg to be maybe we go for the Pacho guy, for instance, who's a young talented player, but he's not a bona fide starter per se. I don't think at this stage just yet to say, oh, he's the center back pairing for BBD period, and everyone else has got to work up to his level. um would you be disappointed if that was the plan that they went with? Again, like I understand you're going to put a lot of trust in, in Hughes and the direction that they go with. But would you be disappointed if it was just okay? We're going to just add Sep and we're going to just add William um, as these as additional center backs, young, certainly very promising, but not necessarily established center backs. And then utilize them as being the kind of under like the third and fourth choice center backs, or fourth and
Yeah,
fifth
I
choice.
don't know
Excuse me,
why
fourth and fifth choice.
why everybody keeps talking about Stefan de Berg. I don't get why people keep talking about him. He hasn't played for the club. When was the last time he played for the club? I don't. Yeah, if he comes back, then what a story that would be. But I don't see what it is about what's happened in his career so far that makes anyone think he's going to come back and start playing for Liverpool. So if he does, fair play to him, but I can't see it happening.
Hmm.
So, sure, again, like the likes of Nat Phillips, people like that. There's a lot of dead wood that's been around too long. That just need shifting. People like that, people like this Musialowski kid, Nat Phillips,
Oh wow, okay.
Sepp Van der Berg,
See,
these
okay.
guys, like the guys that have been around
You
that
don't
the
think you
next
don't think
big
it's
thing for
viable
6 years.
but you don't think it's viable to
I'm trying
maybe
to.
with a new coach maybe?
Well, what I'm trying to like, I'm just trying to say what I'm trying to say. Is, in my opinion, there's too
Yeah.
much dead wood around that needs to get gone.
Mm.
I mean, some of these guys are here 6, 7 years. So, like, great if they were to all of a sudden start playing for Liverpool again. Wow, amazing. But I just don't. These names have been on the page for yeah years now, and they've never made a breakthrough. They're never going to make a breakthrough, in my opinion. So just move them on, and like the likes of Nat Phillips, Seth Van den Berg, they'll be back for pre-season, no doubt,
Mm.
and then they'll go off and get other clubs. But just I know dead wood when I see it. So these guys, I don't see any. I don't know. Like Seth Van den Berg is doing well at where at Mainz or something.
Mm-hmm.
Is it
It is
Mainz?
mine. It
Is
is.
that
It
in
is.
Bundesliga too? Are they in Bundesliga too?
No, they're in the
Are they in the
Bundesliga.
Bundesliga?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, fine. You're doing well over there. That's great. But no, I just think we need some new defenders to come in, new young players, the likes of Nat Phillips and Sepp Van der Berg. thanks very much, but no
How
thanks.
much would this Morello be, by the way? I don't know. 20-year-old
God
Brazilian
knows.
from North, not
They
from
probably,
Forest.
if they get relegated,
Mm-hmm.
get him for what they paid for him. You'd have to, yeah, yeah. They probably try and get their money back. They probably paid about 20 million for him.
They played that high. Okay.
Oh, if they get relegated, pretty much everyone there will probably be up for sale.
Mm-hmm. I'll look it up. But, I will admit I have not been watching too much of Forrest this year, but I know that people do rate him very, very highly.
Yeah, I've seen him
21 years
twice.
old. What's that?
I've seen him twice against Liverpool.
20. Yeah, it looks like his current player market value is 20.6. So let's call it 21 million pounds is his current market value. So very interesting. Very interesting. You know what's also interesting is we're going to have to go into the works to get a DM as well, possibly. That's a position that we certainly would like to shore up, most likely. Is there a DM out there that you would think of possibly going for as well?
Yeah. Um, I hadn't thought about that one. How's Lavia getting on at Chelsea? Um,
It's an interesting role. DM's an interesting position right now in world football in general, because I know that you have your Rodri, you had your Rodris, but I mean, like, he's certainly blossomed into a class of his own. But tell me some other names out there that you're just like over the world for at DM. Someone that you would put on the levels of a Rodri right now. I mean, in the chat, please do say if there's someone out there that gives you the defensive, the DM, and I'm talking about the defensive DM style presence of a Rodri out there, and also has maybe even some hints of offensive talent and ability in his game. João Gomez, Angel saying, is there anyone else? I mean, yeah, Bernie's saying Fabinho, he was amazing for us. I know, you're only joking. And I get it. Depends on what kind of DM that you want, because like personally, I'm bringing up the question because like I kind of want us to go for like I wouldn't mind us getting back and figuring out possibly on bringing in um, the DM that we were pursuing before, Andre. But and I think we could possibly get him at a reasonable rate. And but you know, Camavinga, great, really, really talented player. But yeah, there's absolutely no chance of us getting Camavinga.
oh, if you even oh yeah, if we're talking about players we could get as well. Yeah, like the obvious,
Yeah, but I'm just asking
Yeah,
who
if we're
who.
talking.
Yeah, I'm just asking for names, and then we can evaluate whether we even have a remote chance of getting that player. But can you name a DM? Is there a DM out there that you're just like, oh my goodness, if we had the opportunity, that's the DM that I would go for?
No, there's no one
No,
that stands out to me at the
no
moment.
one stands
There's
out.
no one really like that. I think we could go out and get because it's going to be another kind of yeah, João
Mhm.
Neves type guy,
Yeah, that's what
it's
Highlor
going to be.
says.
But I
Yeah.
think yeah, and I was just using that as kind of like a made up name. It's going to be
Mhm.
yeah, Johnny Da Silva kind of thing. It's just going to be yeah, because we're not going to go out there and get a Chumani or go out there and get a Frankie de Jong or go out there and get um, even a Bruno Guimaraes who's a bit more different style
Yeah.
because the prices you look Declan Rice 100 million quid, size 8 or 100 million quid. also you're not taking a Tchouaméni from Real Madrid. You're not taking someone from um, PSG if they don't want to
Right,
leave.
right.
So you've also
Yeah.
got to look at who could we get. So
Who could?
again,
Yeah, totally.
that's where you're hoping for. It's not like people don't want to hear about this is where I want. Like this is where the data stuff comes in. This is where the super scouting networks and all the shit you have
Mhm.
and all the info you have and all the systems that you have, you come together and you can find. It doesn't have to be a hidden cheap gem or whatever, but it has to be. It's like, yeah, look, there's this guy playing for CSK in Moscow, or there's this guy playing for Herrenbein, or there's this guy playing for Schalke,
Mhm.
and you go and get him. But like
Mm.
to me, like, could you have a scenario where in a couple of years' time, I wouldn't be surprised if
Yeah,
Gravenberch is a holding player, is a deeper line player. I don't
I,
see him as
I
being more.
agree.
I see him as being able to drop. Maybe he's more of a playmaker in midfield as he gets a bit more, as he toughens up a bit. So that could be something as well. So yeah, it's another one. It's like very much like the centre half position because of the prices of top centre halves and top DMs. I'm not saying we won't have money or can't spend money, but it sounds like I'm saying we can't spend money on anybody. But if you did want to go out and get some, yeah, you are going to like it's a proven as much as proven can be
Right,
can come in like a Rice or something. You are going to pay three figures, as in nine figures. It's a big
right.
risk. So, and plus, of course, look, you've got my percentage, but a
Yeah,
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 like remember Manu Kone? Like, do you remember when we weren't going to win the league unless we
yeah. That's
got
the
Kone
that's the
or
reason
no one,
why I was also bringing
no
it
one
up too. 'Cause
talking?
there's a lot of names out there that we originally that were like even backups, to the Lavias and to even eventually the Casados. But I mean, there are names even before that, that were the Kones or the Rams that were out there, even though they don't play specifically like the DM role that we per se wanted, but they could play the DM role. Um, there are a lot of those names that were thrown out there that we were in the hunt for possibly, and he just never panned out to be the one that
There's
we
a
wanted
guy.
for.
There's a guy really is in charge of it. Subamendi. He's supposed to be, um, yeah, the next big thing, kind of
Mm,
an Alonso type. He grew up. He's a Sociedad guy as well. He's kind of Alonso would be his kind of idol, I would imagine. But yeah, he's someone that's very highly rated as well.
yeah. There's a lot of names put into the chat, by the way. Like Barella isn't really a DM, so that wouldn't really work out. But Richard says Paulina. I think Paulina's a little bit like you're getting a little bit out of the age bracket though that you'd want to see, considering we already have a 30 plus 30-year plus DM in Endo. Um, Onana. Do you think Everton would ever let go of Onana to us? I don't really think
He's
that's really
still a
happening.
bit. He's still a bit kind of chaotic looking.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I don't know if he's. Yeah, like I saw him play one game. I think it was his first season here, last season maybe, and he played about 45 minutes,
Hmm.
and he completely dominated, just completely dominated the entire game. I think he scored at both ends. I think he got a goal and an own goal. Or he scored and he got sent off or something. But he looked like every time he knew about something was going to happen. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, you kind of need to mold that into something. But on his
Right,
day,
right.
Christ,
Yeah. Um, this is good. Bernie brings up a good name, but I think that ship has sailed since he's made his way to PSG. Um, Ugarte basically is rated at like around 50 million pounds as being his player value. I think that they're going to hold on to him and it would take a lot to pry him away from PSG. Um, Stefano says Oh, this is with like in the sense of Paulinho too. This is a concern too. Plus, you don't want a Casemiro. Casemiro has just absolutely gone from like top-notch gem to like the same kinds of uh, criticism that you saw placed upon Fabinho with the amount of drop off that you've seen in his game.
Yeah,
Um, Basuma's a
absolutely.
shout. Basuma's a shout. You said the Supermande. Um, yeah, Kone, and then Locatelli, Locatelli. They say right.
I can tell you.
But yeah, I guess it is kind of a percent of. I still am very optimistic to just kind of see what we get from Besetic. Be honest with you, I really am very optimistic to see what we can do with Besetic. I do. Again, I've already put it on out there though. I wouldn't mind us possibly investigating what it would take to bring Andre in if he's still looking to make a move. It's kind of interesting how Andre was the talk for not only us but other teams as well, and how he just all of a sudden just like dropped off the radar for a lot of the other teams as well. Because I believe he's going to Wolves were talking about him and everything else.
Yeah, it was January transfer fever. There was nothing happening, and yeah, he was talking to town for a long time, and then just nothing. Yeah, just nothing.
Yeah.
And then a weird story linking him with Fulham.
Mm-hmm.
So just
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can see, yeah, there's no chat like you're saying with the Paulinho thing. It's about getting that with the DM. I'd rather us go for the upper end of our wage or our age profile. So say the 25-year old maybe, as opposed to bringing in a 20-year-old defensive midfielder. I'd like to bring in someone with a bit more
Mm-hmm.
better CV.
Interesting. Yeah. But yeah, Reels from Jared says, nah, Basuma has had just 5 good games for Spurs. He hasn't been all that.
Injured a lot.
Yeah.
Injured.
Interesting. Um and the Feyenoord guy. Do you think that we're going to get do you think this coach is going to bring someone from his former team with him? And I think anyone could you see him bringing some maybe a player or two? Or is that set the
I haven't
wrong
seen
precedent?
anybody.
Because you're like,
I haven't seen anybody mentioned. You
mhm,
usually get the tip that oh he's going to bring this guy, he's going to bring that guy. But I haven't actually seen any of that.
mhm.
I'm not sure if there's anybody there that would have been linked to us. Like if they're not someone that would have been realistically linked to us beforehand, then you can kind of dismiss it. But you always get the oh he's going to bring this guy or he's going to bring
Right.
that guy.
There
But
was a talk about Santiago Jimenez basically possibly being someone that he brings with them. I'm trying to think of some other. Someone just mentioned it in the chat. Actually, I think it was not possibly even Stefano, or I think it was Stefano maybe, or no, my fault. Realism Jared, my bad. Was talking about Matt's Viper. Um, for some reason, I mean I don't know why I have him. Apparently he's on my list because I got him. I got the notification bell on him. Some of the players I put notification bells to see and to track what they're doing and how they're doing. He's a 24-year-old Dutch player, um, midfielder, right footer, 6'2", very very tall, 6'2", pretty much decent at all the aspects of his game, not exceptionally incredible at any particular aspect of the game, whether it's offense or creativity and such, but decent. Um, I know that I think he is injured currently though, but he's 24 years old. Could be interesting perception.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That kind of age. Like I'm assuming he's the DM at Feyenoord. So
Yes, he is. He is.
yeah, I haven't really seen the like I said, the normal kind of he's going to have, it's usually a striker or something. But I think it's almost inevitable. Like if we don't spend about 100 million in total on a DM and a
Mhm.
defender, I'd be very much surprised. I think two of them at that 50 million mark are 60-40. That they like this is what I mean. Like they are like the prices of these guys have gone crazy. They've gone through the roof. But
Mhm.
that's only
Mhm.
for clubs with too much money that aren't doing their work. Like they are still at the end of the central defenders and defensive midfielders. They're not, you know, elite strikers or anything like that. There are plenty of these players out there if you have the right, scouting and the right data and all that, you do all that stuff properly. You shouldn't have to go out there and break the bank. I mean, you can make other clubs look foolish, like by spending 30 million quid on some guy that's better than their Man United's latest 80 million pound disaster. So you shouldn't have to go out there and break the bank to buy top quality 23, 24-year-old centre half. You need all to look at when after that for him to, fit in and all that. But it should be not easily done, but it should be very doable.
Mhm.
That's that's what I'm expecting to see, especially with all the boys back on board now. With
Yeah.
Edwards back and Ward back, and this is what I'm getting at. I'm expecting much more of these type of okay, don't know much about them type of signings, as opposed to like, oh yeah, obviously, we spent 80 million on, you know, Bastoni or Delict or whoever it is, you know.
Mhm. Yeah. Bernie's wondering what kind of war chest Edwards is going to have next season. That's going to be a big question. I
Don't
mean,
mention the
this
war
this
chest, bro.
January, yeah, this January window has certainly put a interesting um, concept of how money is going to be spent, and especially with all the regulations and sanctions that we've seen on teams. Teams are certainly more mindful of how they spend their money. I wanted to also give a shout out to Harvey Elliott for making Team of the Week. By the way, he apparently made Team of the Week. Team of the Week was Holland, Jackson up front, Adingra, uh, Elliott, Elise, Maduke, Rodri, Vardial, Silva, and Richards. And Olsen made Team of the Week at goalkeeper, at least. Very interesting. A lot of Chelsea players in there. Very, very interesting. But
What's that? Is that Premier League team? Is it like
yes,
is
Premier
that?
League Team of the Week.
Uh,
What'd you just say? What'd you just say?
no, no, I was just wondering. I was just wondering which one. No, because
Oh, okay.
like,
Oh, okay.
that,
I thought you were booing it. Like, who cares? um,
well, that's the question, Jared. That's the question, and some people don't really like what the obvious answer is. But I think it's obvious why these people that left are coming back, and it's whether what you want to read into that then is the next thing.
oh wow. Okay. Yeah, it could be for a couple different reasons. It could be the grass isn't greener on the other side of the fence type concept, or maybe it's because of a new opportunity to utilize your own power for new power structure. Maybe it's an opportunity to reestablish yourself in the folds. Who knows? Big up
That's
Revenite.
it
Big up
exactly,
Revenite.
and there's a certain obstruction no longer
Yeah,
in the way for them. So that people there was let's just say creative differences, I would
yeah,
imagine,
yeah,
and
yeah.
so I think now that I think everyone else has gotten together, you can see where the thought processes were going. So not that anyone is right or wrong about it. You know, there wouldn't be, if someone had said that you could give Klopp 90% of the power and let him
Hmm.
spend the money, there's no guarantee that you do any better or worse. But yeah, I don't think it's any. Yeah, like Edwards has been given a huge opportunity now. He's, like it said there, like new CEO of FSG. Like that's a huge job. That's way bigger than just any kind of job he could have had at Liverpool. But the Julian Ward one coming back is definitely a surprise. But
That's a surprise. I find that a surprise, to be honest with you.
kind of half forgotten about Julian Ward, to be honest with you,
Yeah, yeah.
because he was here 6 months and
But he's an
lost.
Edwards guy. He is an Edwards guy, so he worked well with
No, he
Edwards.
was clearly his top pick. Like
Yeah,
that's what Romano was saying. Edwards convinced him to come back. He was
yeah.
going to do a different job. He was going off doing something else, and Edwards convinced him to come back.
We are going into a weekend where we're not going to be playing. Obviously, we play on Monday. So
What do you want the link for, Jimmy?
yes,
What do you
we
want the
play on
link for, Jimmy?
Monday. Should be a
Sorry.
fun time. Going to do definitely a lead in for that game. Then possibly do a watch along, but we're certainly going to do a lead in for that game. For this weekend, I have a big question. So Fulham are going to be faced against Man City. That one, not so much. Isn't so much like any real question as to like is Fulham's not necessarily playing for anything, and Fulham certainly could be another victim to City considering how well they're on form. But we have a case where Man United will be hosting Arsenal. If you were to give a 1 to 10, 10 being a definite, most likely is going to happen, to a 1 being like no chance in HE hockey sticks, okay? Where would you say, what are the chances that Manchester United at Old Trafford, and they do well against Arsenal, what are the chances that Manchester United end this race for their title hopes this weekend?
Very
What do you
long
think?
way of asking. What chance do you think United have beating Arsenal? Yeah, 0 chance.
0 chance. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to ask quickly, what link do you want, Jimmy? Jimmy's saying for a link or something, because Bernadette isn't a mod, so she can't put links in the chat. So if you can tell one of the mods what you want the link for, they can put it in the chat. I'm just not sure what you're looking for a link for. Oh, it's the end of season awards. Okay, yeah. Apparently you can vote for Klopp and VVD in the Barclays season awards. So if anyone wants to put a link for that in the chat.
Okay.
Premier League awards or something, I suppose.
I heard that he mentioned something about it. I thought he was talking about something else in the presser about that, but I think he was talking about VVD being on the short list, but maybe someone was talking about him being on the short list. I got you.
Yeah, him and VVD must be on the short list. So
for player and manager awards, yeah. I hope that we all get behind and support and drop it down. Yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone who's a mod can drop a link for that in the chat.
For certain. Yes. Redbird, I see Redbird's in the chat. If he knows the link for that, you can put it in there. I don't have the link handy at the moment, but I might be still on mute considering I was talking about the Red Devils. I could get that for sure. But I thought it was very interesting to see there's some interesting games left on this weekend. We got Fulham again, like I said, hosting City. We have Spurs that have lost 4 in a row for the first time this year, facing off at home against Burnley. We have Newcastle hosting Brighton. And De Zerbi has reassured or reaffirmed that he wants to stay with work something out. I don't know if he's gotten that contract done or finished yet, but he wants to stay with Brighton. West Ham are going to be hosting Luton. Very, very important game for Luton, by the way. If they have any hopes of keeping the pressure on Forest, they have to win this game.
That'd be my banker. That's the one I'd put money on. Would be Luton to beat West Ham.
Oh,
West
really?
Ham are on the beach. Yeah, look, West Ham. Look what we did to them. Arsenal, they've completely given up now. So anybody with something to play for, that's what I'd be sticking a tenner on. Yeah, Luton, because they've got something to fight for, and West Ham
They do.
just
They
pretty much
do.
given up. So why not? Why yeah, I wouldn't be at all surprised if Luton go there and beat West Ham 3-1.
Wolves will be hosting Crystal Palace. And as I'm going through this, if there's a game that stands out for you guys, tell me which game you guys think or what you think the outcome's going to be. Because Wolves are going to be hosting Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace has really did an about face when it comes to their actual form, and they're really bringing out some really good performances on the pitch as of late with this new manager. But they are going to Wolves. What's that?
Keeping those two boys fish, as in Lisa, see what they can do. Brilliant players. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Big turnaround since I knew nothing about the guy. Never heard of him before.
Yeah.
And he's coming in. He's even getting your man Mateta scoring goals. He was always performing well. He's a strong, kind of solid type player, but he was never a goal scorer for them. And now he's pretty much, he's up there with, he's not far off a goal a game the last few games.
Yeah, they look to be enjoying their football again. Yeah.
Your man Mitchell, the kid at fullback, they've got two great centre halves, Gay and Joachim Anderson. And do you remember that guy that we were? He won the Europa with Frankfurt. Yeah, that shows you what I know right now. Do you remember that Decore that everyone was saying we're after? The defensive midfielder Palace. Do you remember they were saying, we're going to get him now, 80 million, 70 million.
Mm-hmm. Richards. You mean Richards, not Mitchell. You said Mitchell. You mean Richards.
They've Tyreek. Excuse me, they've Tyreek Mitchell, the other left back, or the other.
Okay. Chris Richards is. I thought you were saying because Chris Richards is a U.S. men's national team player.
Yeah, he's just come through as well. He's started to make an impact there. So you look at Elise, Eze, Mateta, Decore, Anderson. They actually have a really good team there.
They do.
But it is dependent on a lot of those individuals. But Elise turned down a move to Man City last summer and signed a new deal, but they won't be able to keep hold of him and Eze for much longer.
They won't.
Only fitness.
They won't. You're right about that. It's a matter about what offer makes them move, basically.
Wharton, yes, Revenant Wharton. He's this guy apparently has been excellent for him as well. This kid Wharton that started running the midfield for them. So yeah, this guy Glasner could be like this. This is what we're saying a few weeks ago. Like there's no big name coaches out there at the moment because you take Klopp and Pep out of the equation, then it's all kind of new and upcoming coaches. But give it 5, 6, 10 years, there's going to be new top coaches out there. So the likes of these Glasners and
that have some real
lads I'd never heard of 2 years ago. They are going to come along. These good coaches will come along. We just don't know who they are yet, and we can't be certain who they are yet.
Yeah, certainly. Well, they are going to be going up against Wolves, who will face off against in our final game. Everton will find themselves hosting Sheffield United. And then we have Bournemouth that's going to be hosting Brentford. And again, Chelsea, who has all of a sudden become an interesting. They've been an interesting team all year, to be honest with you. Their ups and downs with their team, their ups and downs. Their team is very interesting. And in the game I spoke of earlier, and hopefully I'm not going to be put on mute by Redbird, but Manchester United hosting Arsenal at Old Trafford. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun weekend. Then we have us on Monday at was it at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock?
Probably
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, actually. Yep. It should be good times. Good times.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that for the game. Yeah,
It's gonna
I'm
be a
not
tough
sure about
game.
that.
It's
Yeah,
gonna be a tough
yeah.
game.
I don't know what he's going to do. Now that he's talked about Nunes in the press conference, I kind of almost expect him to start.
I expect him to start.
Give him give him a shout there, give him a chance. But
Yeah.
after all that's happened, kind of go, well, look, go out and prove him wrong, lad. Go out and prove him wrong. Go out and prove him wrong. That's what I'd be saying to him. You know, they're saying you
Yeah.
can't, saying you're useless. Go out and prove him wrong, man.
Yeah.
The only best way to do it is score a couple of goals. So
Score a
I
couple
know it's
goals. Yeah.
tough place to go and do it. I know what it's. Look, if it was Luton at well, hey, if it was Sheffield United at home or something, but he probably, you know, you'll get a lot more credit if he goes and does it against the top side away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, than he would if we beat Sheffield United 6-0 at home and he scored a couple. So that's really all you can do. You can, you know, what's happening off the pitch is stuff that we don't want to see, and you know, we hope that kind of just it calms down. But at the end of the day, just go out there and score a few goals and just make your statement that way. But
Yeah.
have they taken their foot off the gas a little? Like they're pretty much guaranteed Champions League at this stage. So it might not be a horrible game. Like if they had to win it, if they were, you know, if they needed a point.
I think you're
I'm
right
not
about
sure.
that. It's not a game that they have to win, but I mean, I was listening to what's his name from Talk Sport. I forget his name now. I'm gonna go blank on his name. He's extremely annoying. I think he was actually Villa's old. I want to say he's Villa's old. Was the owner of Villa at one time? Was it Austin Villa? They was the owner of. He's on Talk Sport. You know what I'm talking about, right? What's his name?
Oh, you're probably talking about Simon Jordan, right? He used to
Simon
go on
Jordan.
Christmas
Yes,
Palace.
that's it. He was
He was
going
on
off
Christmas
about
Palace.
how he was basically saying how it was a big disappointment that that Villa got knocked out of the Conference League, and he was going on about how it's a disappointment to have lost to Olympiacos, and or to lose to basically it's one thing to be fourth place in Premier League, but he said it's another thing to lose to the fourth place team in the Greek league, basically. And he was going at length about how he thinks that the Premier League is not as good as everyone thinks it is. He's basically saying that the Premier League is not as good as everyone thinks it is, considering that we have no teams that are playing in any of the European finals currently for when it comes to English teams. You agree with that statement?
Simon Jordan. Jeez.
Or just do you agree with that statement by Simon Jordan? Not do you agree with Simon Jordan in general. I just
No,
meant like with that
you can't
statement.
have like everybody comes out every year with that. If you don't have two English teams in the Champions League final, and you don't have two English teams in the Europa League final, you always get the likes of this guy coming out and say, "See, the English team, our English team isn't that good." Well, you've got one from Spain and you've got one from Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's only two teams.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
But he's
by
not just
every
talking about
measure, by every
Champions League.
measure.
He's
No,
talking
but
about
by every measure,
all of Europe.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
Like, unless you have two in Europa and you have two in the Champions League, these guys come out and say, "See, the English league isn't that strong." You know,
Right.
like by every measure, it's pretty much the strongest league out there. You know, but you can't. Yeah, they don't have. they don't have a Real Madrid. They don't have a Bayern Munich. They can, it's an easy stick to beat the Premier League, but yeah, it is. But I think for someone like him, for someone like Simon Jordan, like unless you've got three teams competing across those two finals, then it's a failure. It's not good enough for him. But an English team won it in two out of the last how many seasons between City winning it last season and Chelsea winning it just a couple of seasons before that.
Mhm.
So I reckon an English team has won two out of the last four Champions League, five Champions Leagues. That's a pretty high percentage.
Mhm.
So it doesn't really stack up when he says stuff like if you can take it
Because
on
I
an
mean, yeah.
individual season, take it over a 5 year period.
Mhm.
This people, yeah, people like him, just to rent a gob, just to rent him out.
I get, and that's and yeah, he was speaking on not just Europa, but obviously he's speaking on not just Europa that we were engaged in. He's talking about, obviously Conference League as well, which is Europa as well. I understand that. But he's talking about the three different levels of Europe. No, there's no representation going on, and currently, yeah, it's going to be Olympiacos versus Fiorentina.
Olympiacos.
Okay, and
Oli-
Florentina. It's going to be the final. So basically, Greece versus Italy. So yeah, they was disappointed to see Villa drop out. Villa in this current form have lost the last three games that they've had. They've lost both the three games,
I
and they
don't think
lost.
he was.
What's that?
I don't think he was disappointed to see Villa drop out. He hates everybody.
Oh, does
He's
he?
delighted to see Villa. Yeah, man. If you don't know about Simon Jordan, um, he's delighted. That's just Talksport. Just want hate. Like they want to give out about stuff. So they
Mhm.
prefer it when people
I
get
think it was
dropped
he
out.
was on there. If is Martin O'Neill the is he the
Is he on there now? Is he? Jesus, I haven't listened to that crap show in about 20 years
yeah
now.
yeah
I didn't know Martin O'Neill had ended up on there.
yeah
Yeah, Simon Jordan's been on there since pretty much since he sold Palace. He's been in the media. He was,
right. It was Palace that it
yeah,
was okay. Palace, not Villa.
yeah. He
My
was
bad.
very young. Yeah, oh no, he's never. Yeah, he was very young when he owned Palace. Even by, sorry, yeah, he was pretty young owner. And he was kind of an Aussie. He was very flamboyant. He was very outspoken. Always
Oh
in the
yeah,
media,
I know.
always
He's
talking.
he is definitely
So
flamboyant to say the least. Certainly.
yeah, so he hasn't got. So you can imagine what he was like when he actually owned a club in the Premier League, as opposed to just being on the radio talking about it. He was always pretty controversial. So, but he couldn't make it work. He messed. Like he's one of these guys. Like he's like one of those guys that was a defender that
Right.
never played above. Like I'm not saying he was a defender. I'm saying he's like a pundit
Yeah.
who was a defender, but never
Mhm.
played above League One level, and is sitting there kind of criticizing Virgil van Dijk. Oh, he should have done this. He should have done that. You can't be making mistakes like
As
that.
if he's speaking from
As if he's
some. Yeah,
as
I
if
got.
like yeah, like Simon Jordan messed up everything he ever did in England, and he goes around criticizing people and slagging people off, and he failed massively.
Mhm.
So he hasn't, he likes slagging off English clubs and all that. But that's why he's big on Talksport. You know, it's yeah, it's
Yeah,
basically it's tabloid shite, but very popular in England. Very very
yeah.
popular station.
No, I get it. I get it. I get it.
Well,
Um, so we gave your prediction. We or some asked about if Madrid was going to make it 15, basically when it comes to Champions League, which is incredible that they're even going for that. But you do have a case now where Leverkusen is going to be uh, participating in a final. in a Europa final. It's going to be. I don't know if you saw the last game because they're going to be faced up against the team that actually knocked us out. It would have been interesting if it had been us. It would have been really interesting if we had beaten
I think
Atalanta and
a lot
and,
of
and we're
people had drawn that assumption. I think a lot of people were already buying
yeah,
tickets or planning. If not buying the tickets, they were kind of planning the trip in their head already. I
yeah.
think they
I
thought it
mean, it
was
would have
written in the
been
stars.
beautiful poetry right there for us to have
Well,
faced them.
that just shows you football will take your poetry book and throw it in the river.
Yeah,
Because you got to be. Cause, people thought it's written in the stars. Jurgen Klopp versus Alonso, Liverpool in Ireland last day. Oh, it's bound to happen. It's bound to happen. Boom, 3-0 against Atalanta.
yeah.
Oh, ouch.
And but now it's going to be Leverkusen. They have now the third longest streak, I believe, in football. Pretty incredible streak. Pretty incredible, accomplishment alone with what they're doing. And it seems like with Leverkusen these days, it seems like they are going more so like they'd already qualified despite that they would have lost the game 2-1 possibly. They would have still qualified for the final. They could have still like allowed for that to be the result. But this team has something involved in it, whether it's the Xavi Alonso effect that people are trying to say, or maybe it's just the sheer fact that these players just believe in themselves, not only themselves but possibly even the system. They bought into the system that Alonso's put in for them. But it's absolutely incredible that they now have the third longest unbeaten streak in Europe. 49 matches they've gone unbeaten. Can they make it 50? Do you think?
Is their league over?
Their league is not over. Their league is, I think, hold on, I'll tell you who they have.
Because their next game isn't Atalanta.
Their next game is against, it's going to be a tough one to say. Bochum.
Oh, Bochum, yeah, he's going to be.
Bochum. They're 14th in the league right now, currently.
See, that's where it happens. You rest a couple of players, you take your foot off the pedal, thinking we'll beat these, and that's where it happens. That's where you lose.
Yeah.
So on paper, they should beat these guys. Yeah, to be like to do a treble, uh, unbeaten would
They
be,
have 2 games left, by the way. 2 games left.
and then they have the two cup finals, right? Or have they
Right. They
already
have
won one?
two. They have the cup final. The all right. So they go to Bochum or Bochum, right? Then they host Augsburg. And then they have the final, and then they have the cup final after that.
It's
4
very
more
tough
games
one,
for perfection
very
if they want.
doable. And like you're asking, it's obviously for me, it's always never one. It's always a combination of all of the above. It's a combination of Alonso. It's a combination of the players. It's a combination of capturing something
Mm-hmm.
and not letting go of it, and it all coming together at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt, they've been lucky with it. Not saying they haven't had injuries. I know Boniface was injured, but they obviously have been able to keep their team together. Like Florian Wirtz staying fit, that's worked their way. So
Yeah.
it's all had to go in their favor, And in football, like everything, you need luck. I'm sure there's plenty of games this season where you can't have that many late victories without getting the odd lucky bounce or something goes your way. So you need it all to come together. But number one, top quality coaching with top quality players, everyone buying into the system and everyone believing in it. And that's what can happen.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes a very special. It takes it all. I think nobody because you don't need to go unbeaten.
You don't have to.
You
Yeah,
know,
you don't need
you
to.
don't have to. It's not necessary. You know,
Right.
it's in football. It's like it's complete over. Like it's complete overachievement. You know, even to only lose one game, if they were to lose like one game and to win two cup runs, that would be complete. Oh, that's like still just okay. Calm down. That's you know, you don't gonna break every record. It's all right. Like so, it's mad to be even talking about it. Like that,
Yeah.
and for you and like then you talk about right. If this was Real Madrid, we're talking about doing this, or Manchester City.
Hmm.
But you're not. You're talking, well, it's Liverpool. Christ, okay, what did they get in Jurgen? If Jurgen Klopp had gone there, or Ancelotti had gone there, or
Hmm.
Pep Guardiola had gone there. No, it's bloody Alonso in his first real job. You add all those things together, I don't think you'll ever, if they were to win even just one more, you'd be waiting a long time to see an achievement similar to that with a brand new manager and a small team. It's completely crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. They have 11 game tying or go ahead goals in the second half of stoppage time in all competitions.
Yeah.
Something we know a little bit about as well.
Like the Carabao one, I think it's like when we were talking about the other night. Like we have as a club and a team have this feeling that we can always come back in a game because we've done it before in
Hmm.
such high profile
Hmm.
moments.
Hmm.
And I think the Carabao one when they were playing them, I think they were like 2 goals down with something like 4 minutes to play or something.
Yeah. 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 They were.
And they won. They
Yeah.
weren't just
Everyone had written them
one
off
goal.
by then. Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah,
Yep.
it wasn't just they'd been one down in a couple of games and
Mhm.
they'd come back, but people said, "Oh no,
They
they're
were
two
they
down."
were two down in their
Yeah,
previous game. They were down 2-0 in the
it's
previous game against
pulling stuff out of
Roma.
the bag.
Yep.
Yeah, it's hard to be able to do that stuff once. You go, well, okay, look, we've done it before.
Yeah.
You know, you're not, oh, we've done it before, so we will do it again. But no, we can do it again. So it just becomes like a you know, a stone rolling down a hill. It just keeps going. Like you just gotta you keep going with it. But
Hmm.
even just to win the Bundesliga, amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll ask you. Here's a trivia question then. Can you name
Sorry,
the two?
have Bayern ever done it unbeaten?
Have
Have
Bayern ever
Bayern
gone
ever won?
undefeated?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, have even Bayern ever done that? Won the Bundesliga
That's a good
unbeaten?
question. I could find that out for you.
I'd be surprised if they've even done it because it's just a completely, you know, there's only a few teams that have done it in any
I
of
was
their
going to
leagues.
ask you. There. Can you name the two teams they are chasing now that they're third in the list? Can you name the two teams they're chasing in this undefeated run? And can you name the team they passed in the undefeated run? This is a question for the chat. And since everyone loves trivia questions so much,
Well, you see, I'm not sure how far back this is going, but if it and
it
how
goes back to
many
like 1930s, the 30s or something like that.
and is it only the top 5 leagues in Europe?
Yes.
Oh, okay, because Steaua Bucharest should be in there.
Mhm.
Um, Steaua Bucharest went nearly 3 seasons unbeaten at home, and they won the European Cup. And that was in the 80s. Um, that won't be in there because that was in the Romanian league.
Bayern Munich has gone 42 matches unbeaten in all competitions, which was a German record. Uh, that's as close as I can get. I don't know if they want the entire season or not. Okay, no, they haven't because it says blah, 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 blah. No Bundesliga team ever
Oh yeah,
no
okay.
Bundesliga team ever even competing a domestic league season without losing at least once. So no team has ever completed a Bundesliga season without having one loss. But can you name the two teams they're chasing, and can you name the team that they passed in the list by going 49 games undefeated. And this is in UEFA, obviously.
Yeah, so would it be England, Germany, Spain, England, Germany, Spain, Italy, and France?
England,
Yeah.
Spain, Italy, France, Portugal, Scotland.
Also, it's not just the top 5 leagues then.
Oh, and it's not just top 5. Excuse me. Yes, it's not top 5. It's all of Europe. It could be also
Okay,
Turkey.
so Stoy Bucharest should be in there then.
According to UEFA, it is not.
Well, it's not counting the Romanian league then for some reason. Okay, I'd say Celtic, because I did ask if it was just top 5 leagues,
Okay.
but now if it's all, and you said yeah,
Top,
so I'm
yeah.
gonna have to rethink.
Does Romania get it? Does Romania get does their league get entrance into Champions League?
Yeah, this I'm saying. See, Stoy Bucharest won the Champions League.
Hmm.
Well, it's going unbeaten there, so I don't know. But anyway, I've got to say Celtic and Real Madrid. And who do they
Anchor
pass?
says Madrid, Liverpool,
Chelsea.
and Chelsea. That is not correct. You said Celtic. Who else did you say?
I said Celtic, Madrid, and then the team that they passed, Chelsea.
And nope, that is not correct either. Oh, so yeah, basically somewhat very similar to Bonker, except for he had Liverpool rather than Celtic. I'll give you as they go on. I'll give it as you go on. Get ones that are correct then with your guesses. Celtic is top 62 games unbeaten, 1915 to 1917.
So Celtic is right.
Celtic is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So I got one right. So
got one. Yeah. So I said I'm going to tell you the ones that you got right out of the ones. I'll tell you as you get them right.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Celtic is 62 games unbeaten, 1915 and 1917. They established 62 wins or 62 unbeaten games. Not necessarily wins, but unbeaten games.
Yeah, unbeaten. Yeah.
Rangers is a good guess, but no.
Benfica.
Benfica, yes. Benfica is the team they surmounted to become third place. Benfica has a 48 game unbeaten streak. That was in 1963 to 1965.
Okay, I got two.
Ajax is a good guess, Bonkers, but incorrect. You have one more team. I don't know if anyone's going to get this one, to be honest with you. But it is a team. Belgrade. It is a team that we have heard of. I'll tell you that much.
Red Star Belgrade.
No, it's not Red Star.
Okay, PSV. That's my last guess.
Last guess, PSV. Incorrect. Anybody else want to do one more last guess from chat? I'll give a hint to the chat. It's a team. Celtics already been named. Philip. It's not a team from Russia. This team that is in the list is a team we played, being us, Liverpool. This team is a team we played this year. We have played this team, this current campaign. We have played the team that's in the list at number 2. We have played them this year. So if you want to take another guess at that with that hint, Irishman, you're more than welcome. Atalanta is incorrect. That's a good guess, though. Inter, incorrect. It's a tough one. I said it would be a tough one that you probably wouldn't have thought of being the answer. I'll tell you that much. Toulouse. Okay, since we're already going through them, nope. No. I'll give you the answer. You don't want to take another stab at the Irishman since they already said a lot of them?
No, no.
Okay, let's make sure. Sparta Prague. Yeah, I know. It's funny. You guys went through almost every Europa team that we went through, except for the one that it is. USG is the team that has the second longest. Union SG has the second longest streak of 60 games. Union SG did it in 1933 to 1935. Pretty incredible stats. I don't know why they didn't put that in the thing I have. I don't know why. That was the source was UEFA for that. UEFA had that as being the current. I don't know why they didn't put the Romania team that you spoke of early in there.
Yeah, I know. Well, you see, I have an idea why, but Romania was a little bit corrupty back in those days, so it might not be fully recognized because they went unbeaten for a very, very long time. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
They were the team. They were the team of the dictator. So.
Okay. You're a little bit muffled, but I think I heard someone.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. No, I was just saying that I think it was a little bit corrupt back in those days.
Maybe I got you. That could have a hand.
Well, it was a dictatorship at the time.
Yeah.
So, they did go unbeaten for an incredibly long time. So it is slightly suspect.
Suspect, to say the least.
Yeah.
Yes. But that's the list. 48 matches. Benfica had 48 matches. They just passed them. But it's kind of crazy. 2023 to the present time is Leverkusen's current streak. Can they do it? That's a big question. I don't know if they can. It's going to be very difficult because they've got a lot. I mean, it's going to be a lot of pressure to get the final done, but it's going to be a lot of pressure even before. This is Brian said. It's usually those games that you already look past that ends up being the game that you end up falling short, to say the least. It happened to us. It happened to us that year where I thought we could have won invincible, and we ended up coming short on a day that we actually got completely outplayed in that game too. But
yeah, it's a rare achievement. It's a rare feat, but I'll still never give Arsenal any credit for doing it.
What did you say? You won't give them the credit?
No, I'll still never give Arsenal credit for that. No way.
Yeah, there you go. I'm right there with you, man. So I'm good. I'm good with that. I don't think it's not as it's an achievement. I'm certain, but like as in consider all things considered, that they basically, considering the point total that they had, how many draws they had that year, it is what it is. But all the same, whatever. We'll see if Manchester United can put an end to their hopes of a title this weekend. We'll see if Fulham can have any effect on City's pursuits of a title. And then, of course, like I said, on Monday, we'll do a lead-in for the game. We'll do a lead-in probably an hour and a half before the game starts. And then it's time for us to face Villa. So it should be a fun time. Hopefully you guys will be there with us for that. Is there anything you want to say to the people before we allow for them to go on to their final destinations, Brian?
No, just to introduce the first of the On This Day segment that we were planning to do. Mm-hmm. So today being the 10th of May, on this day, we have the birthday of two Arsenal strikers, which is disappointing. But I'm going to give it to I'm going to give it to Dennis Bergkamp, one of the greatest players, regardless of who we play, one of the greatest players ever to play the game, not just in England. So, Agreed. Yeah, it's a good start. It's a strong start on this day. Today, our first ever inaugural on this day is Dennis Bergkamp. So, congratulations, Dennis Bergkamp.
Yeah.
And the other one was not so good. Sylvain Wiltord. So, can't win them all.
That is what it is. Yeah.
You're losing out to the big man once again. I'm sure he was dropped a few times for Bergkamp in his Arsenal
Oh,
days. So.
easily.
And the only other actual to round out the three, to make it three, because three is the magic number, to get in another lyric before we go, was everybody's favorite, actually one of my favorite goalkeepers of all time. Played for Barcelona, played for Turkey, Rustu Rekber. Remember Rustu Rekber?
No, I don't.
Big,
Top of my
huge,
head.
yeah. Turkish goalkeeper, always had like a slick back ponytail, just looked like a total madman.
Really?
Um,
Okay.
yeah, one of those just real kind of cool early 2000s goalkeepers when they had a bit of personality. Played for Barcelona, played for loads, when those keepers play for loads of
Oh,
clubs.
okay. Like kind of journeyman style, but good
Pretty
player. But
much,
yeah,
but
pretty
one,
much
yeah,
journeyman.
one of those guys always the Turkish number one,
Mm,
so he always
mm.
played in the Euros or whatever. But yeah, but played for high profile clubs. But yeah, Dennis Bergkamp, he was unlucky. He was born one day after me.
Is that what he did? He right here is that he put the black eyeliner type, like the anti-glare stuff.
Yeah, what do they call that? They use in American football. What do you call that? So that shit. Yeah, they put
It's
the
like
white.
like the no the glare is for so
War
that
paint.
when so as you don't get glare from the sun.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I just they don't have a name for it now. They just call
I
it
don't know the
black
name of
white.
it.
Yeah,
That's more of like an American football thing.
yeah. He
American
started doing
football,
that.
American football players and baseball players do it because they have to like look up for punts and stuff, or for kickoffs, or for catching fly balls.
Yeah.
You know,
It's never really caught on in football, but he tried it. He thought
yeah.
it'd work for him, so he tried
As a
it, and I'll
goalkeeper,
tell you, I made a
it
lot of
makes a
sense.
little bit of sense. I can see why possibly you would do it as a goalkeeper. Yeah.
I think he did it just to make himself look kind of crazy. He
Oh,
was one of those
absolutely.
guys. He was one
Stand
of those
out.
guys. He was,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. He was all about presence as well.
Yeah.
But,
You
yeah,
do it
good
probably, yeah, just to
goalkeeper.
be a little bit more intimidating, possibly, or something like that.
Totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
war paint more than anything else. I'd say war paint.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a more of a case. Like some of the guys, like in American football, they put the paint on for that, like the anti-glare stuff on, but they put it in like war, like like war party style paint, war paint style on their faces. That's a little different story. They go kind of crazy with it. Yeah. Robbie with the nose strip. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
the secret to scoring goals, no doubt.
Yeah. But yes, so we're gonna have a episode tomorrow for sure to join in. Um, we're going to do we'll do a lead in for the game on Monday. But Saturday we'll have a show. Most likely the show Saturday will be. I know that you guys got to do your picks for who you see staying with the team, so I figured I do my own picks as well, and you can critique my picks or kind of like give me some suggestions as to who you'd want to see. Now that we have Slot confirmed, who you would want to see Slot bring in for this new upcoming season, as we come to a very close to anti-dramatic close, but all the same an end to an era. So it should be good. Should be good. Um, yes, they certainly did have personality, Richard. They definitely had some personality, to say
And
the least. Yeah.
hopefully, I didn't actually, I didn't know it until he said it today that he doesn't get bloody booked and end up in the stands for the last game. I didn't even know that was a thing until I saw the headline coming up. They say, Klopp vows, to make sure he's on the touchline for because if he gets booked against Villa, he'll be in the stands at
Yeah.
Anfield for his last game. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, Jurgen, do not do anything stupid at Villa, man.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
yeah, imagine that last game of the season, last game of his career,
And
not
yeah,
being
and
able to
he's
stand on
unable,
the
and
touchline.
he's stuck.
No, no, you can't have that, Jurgen. You
Yeah.
just sit down for the whole Villa game, say nothing, just say nothing.
I'll give this one last question. This is our last shout out before we bounce out. Bernie's asked question, guys, and tell me who you guys think as well. I see Richard just gave Henri as his answer. Question, guys: who would be a player in history that you would have loved in a red shirt? Who would I want to see?
So many, man. So many.
I have a name, but it's going to be an interesting name. But I would have, if I could seen him in a red Liverpool kit, I would have loved to have seen Carlos Valderrama. He's one of my favorite players. He's one of my favorite players. He's certainly, talk about personalities. He's an incredible personality. Absolutely a certain magician on the ball. I would have loved to have seen Carlos Valderrama.
Yes, this old.
That's an old. It's an
Like,
old. It's an
yeah,
old.
I'm
An old
not gonna
shout.
go. I'm not gonna go with the like. Obviously, if we had Messi, then we would.
Yeah, I mean, like it could have went there too.
But
Yeah.
just the one that would have brought me most joy. There are a few, but I would at the end of the day just about Ronaldinho.
Ronaldinho. Yeah.
I would have
Yeah.
said Ronaldo, like real Ronaldo.
Mm-hmm.
But just for the pure joy and the magic of what it would have been like watching him at his peak.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, but it have to be. It wouldn't have to be. Obviously, there's loads of people, but yeah, I'd go for Ronaldinho. Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
but Ronaldo as well. Oh God, he was almost just as joyous, and then you get the goal
Yeah.
with those two boys.
Yeah. Bernie's asking, not Maradona.
Well, see, I don't like. They're the kind of like I say, Pele, Maradona, Messi, but like if the guy that I was going to go and watch
Yeah.
on
Jimmy.
on YouTube now
Mm-hmm.
for 5 minutes, just to watch, like to be really entertained.
Mm-hmm.
Ronaldinho would be probably one of the guys. So I probably just, but like it's there's 10, there's easily, but there's probably 50, but there'd be a top 10. So to pick one is impossible. But just because at the time when he played, like we were talking about the other night, the way the games were a bit more open back in the day, when a player like Ronaldinho had a lot more, like today, he wouldn't get the freedom today. He wouldn't be allowed to just be Ronaldinho. So him at his peak back in the day, yeah, that would have been just
Mm-hmm.
special.
Yeah. Because like, yeah, I mean, like,
Just pure
I
freedom.
could easily say, so I could say Ronaldo or yeah, or like like you can easily say CR7 for instance, or also, or or R9, or
It'd have to be the real Ronaldo for me. None of this
yeah.
Cristiano
I'm
Ronaldo.
just saying. I could say CR7 simply because if it meant CR7s with our team with Liverpool, maybe it affects somewhat their run with the Red Devils for their
Well,
team. I don't know. Like there are those players out there. Messi, obviously. I mean, I could have said Pele, or something like that. Obviously. But
no,
yeah,
but see, I took it in the spirit you took it in. Like,
I
I'm not
just
like
want
the
with like
best.
I want a
The
player that
player
I
you
love.
always wished we'd signed.
Yeah, exactly. Someone that wasn't exactly like you know on the Mount Rushmore of players, but necessarily was an amazing player all the same. Yeah. If you've never seen Carlos Valderrama play, please do go out there and check him out. He was a incredible talent, absolute incredible, and played well into his like senior quote unquote for football terms years. Was still an amazing talent.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw him at the World Cup because they're at the World Cup when Ireland were at the World Cup.
Mhm.
You see, obviously, the first thing you see is the hair
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
with the iconic Colombian team.
Yeah. His afro was class for sure, Richard. Definitely so. Yes, you'll have to check him out. He's unfortunate. He's one of those players that unfortunately, being from Colombia, like as in it was very, I would say, somewhat limited to where he was going to be able to play. And even so, even later on in his career, he played for the MLS, played in the MLS, but he was still one of the top tier players in the MLS, even at that. I got you. Thank you, Bernie. Yeah, I got you. I already know. I'm not trying to get ridiculed like that.
Yeah, that Colombian side, that
was
was
was a
that was
class. They were picked that year. They were picked 94. They were picked to be one of the favorites for it to win the cup that year.
everybody loved them.
Yeah,
Everybody loved them. They were a
yeah,
breath of fresh air, and you had Rene Higuita in goal, who was just the ultimate crazy keeper.
yeah. And
Then you
rest in
had,
peace, Escobar,
yeah, of
who got
course, yeah,
the
yeah,
horrible thing that happened to him after that.
yeah,
He was one of the best players in Europe at the time, by the way.
yeah. That was,
Played in Italy at the time.
yeah, no, that was shocking. I remember that. It was absolutely shocking. But yeah,
Yeah,
Aspria, players like that, everybody loved that Colombian
yeah,
team. They really loved them. Again, like Riquelme is one someone else I would have. I mean, but
yeah.
yeah,
Peter
after
Nedved
Riquelme or
is a good
Ronaldinho,
player too. Yeah,
him in there. But
but yeah,
yeah, that Colombian team, it's not what it used to be. But like Asprilla, Higuita, and Valderrama, three of the biggest characters in world football, all in the same team at the same time.
yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah,
completely mental.
yeah. It would have been cool. It would have been different to see. I mean, like you would have been seeing people coming to the game with the Valderrama like wigs on and stuff. It would have been great.
But
It would have been
he
great.
had the mustache as well. Like it wasn't
Oh, he had a
far
great
off
mustache too. Yeah, he did. He
it
absolutely did.
wasn't far off the 80s, out at the 80s perms and mustaches
Yeah,
that all the boys had at Liverpool.
yeah,
So yeah, I thought
yeah.
he would have done yeah, no problem at all. He would have done well in England. No
Look at the
problem at all.
streets arriving all late. I got you.
Yeah,
But they always arrived. They always arrived.
pick up crab.
Pick up crab. Oh man, Seedorf would have been a great addition too. Seedorf was an amazing player, definitely. Um, maybe even like Rude. I like Rude Hullett too, but that's for other reasons. But yeah, he would have been an amazing player. But yeah, we'll do that. There was a suggestion from Richard earlier. He asked about what was it? What is your most underrated 11 aside team of all time? We could do something like that at some point. We could make that into an episode. That's something we could definitely do over the summer, if not like, coming up pretty soon. We have a bunch of shows that are all ready to rock and roll. Just a matter of like picking the right time to bring them out. But for
Can I
now,
just say,
we're going. Go ahead.
just quickly, Ras Crab was saying JJ Okocha. Like JJ Okocha is pretty much one of the greatest players of all time. One of the most skillful players, just an absolute genius player.
Wow, it's
And
high praise.
this is why I hate PSG right now, because I used to
Mhm.
love PSG. Before PSG were taken over, PSG were one of the coolest clubs out there. They were only going since like the 70s and stuff,
Mhm.
but they had just brilliant taste in players. They had Ronaldinho and JJ Okocha in the same goddamn football team at the same time. And if you know anything about JJ Okocha and Ronald, that's like having two Ronaldinhos in your team
And
at the
yeah,
same time.
they
That's the
just
kind of stuff
yeah,
PSG used to do. That's why I used to love that club. They used to have
yeah,
Ginola, they had all these, they used to just love bringing in brilliant attacking players, and then they turned into this thing. But yeah, Crab, if you know anything about Kocha, can you imagine a team with Ronaldinho and a Kocha in it at the same time? That's just carnage.
that'd
So
be
yeah,
cool. That'd be cool.
that PSG used to be cool, man. That's what people forget. Yeah, George Weah, PSG used to be cool.
Hmm. I have another name in my head, but I'll save it for another time. All right, guys, we're gonna be out though. We're gonna have to be out. We're gonna ask you to do the best to take care of yourself so that you can take care of your loved ones in your lives. It's very important, very, very important. And we're going to ask that if anything, please do share this with your friends or your family or your enemies. Doesn't matter. We're trying to make a cool environment for people to be able to discuss things, not be bullied, not be, not have to worry about what they say is going to be judged to the point where you're going to be, ostracized by any points of the words. If anything, we want to make an environment that's inclusive and one that you feel free to be able to speak freely and also, just enjoy some discourse, enjoy the dialogue that we can bring up amongst ourselves. So I thank you guys for joining us today, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow. So until then, and as always, up the Reds.